Welcome to Toffee TV. On Saturday, we received the awful news that Kevin Campbell had passed away, and obviously me and Ped have been quite close to him really over the years. It was news that we've been told to expect, but I mean, I don't know about you. The longer it went on and there was no other news, because he was such a massive character, I don't know, maybe I was stupid or naive, but I just thought he'd battle back from it. Even though we had been kept up to date, haven't we, that the outcome didn't look great. But I'll be honest with you, I've been going through the videos, but I still find it difficult to comprehend that he's sadly passed away, and it is a huge shock, even though, like I said, we have been kept sort of up to date with it.
Yeah. I suppose in this case it was. They always say, no news is good news, but I always felt it was a bit like the other way because he was whatever you want to say, was loved so much that once people got a little sniff of it, then people did feel that they needed and wanted to be updated. So obviously shocking to get the news on Saturday morning, to wake up to that kind of situation. And the outpouring of love and support has been huge, hasn't it? It's been absolutely huge. I'm not sure I can remember, maybe it's just because we're close to it, but I can't really remember an outpouring of grief like it for someone, because obviously he's very much still in his prime, as in, on TV and stuff like that, and obviously done bits around Everton as well. He's in our world, isn't he? So for us, it's, and with Arsenal obviously, and the people we know at Arsenal as well, doing stuff with that, with him on those shows as well. So yeah, it's just shocking, and 54 is. It really is no age. It really, when we're our age, then it really is no age, But just a guy who was, loved by everyone, absolutely loved by everyone. Don't think anyone's got a bad word to say about him. And I mean, that is the power, that's the power of positivity, isn't it? I think the power of positivity, you often say about, attraction. The law of attraction. His positivity, attracted everyone to him, and he'll be missed by so many people.
I remember being, and that obviously when I worked there, I had bits of interaction with him, but not tons. So I remember when we went to do the commemorative kit.
Yeah.
We went down to review it, didn't we? And we got to speak to him. And it was the first time that I had real proper conversation, and he was just so unbelievably warm, and that's obviously where it really grew from. And I remember just thinking, oh my God, he was because we've met and spoke to lots of people in and around football. I've been in football a lot of my life just through various things, and we've met so many in the last 10 years, haven't we? And I'm got to say, a lot of them are really nice. They are.
But a lot of them are guarded.
But they're guarded.
A lot of them are guarded. A lot of them are...
What I was going to say was, he broke the norm. He was totally different than the norm. And I said at the weekend, when I put a tweet up, is that he was a great footballer. He kept Everton Football Club in the Premier League almost single-handedly. But he was a better human being. Football was just something he did in his life, but the way he was, I don't think you meet many people like Kevin Campbell in your life. I really don't. And especially someone who's, like you just said there, all the videos have been surfacing, haven't they? Like him going down Goodison Road, and Evertonians surrounded by him. And there's so many different fans. Nottingham Forest fans, West Brom fans, Leicester fans, people who we didn't really hardly even spend that much time. They loved them. Arsenal fans, obviously, he was a big gunner, wasn't he? A big gooner.
Yeah.
And Zach was asking me yesterday, he was like, who would he support then? I was like, well, he was an Arsenal fan because he was an Arsenal fan, but he loved Everton like he was an Evertonian, didn't he? And that was a rarity. We've both done things with Sophie and we've done things with Amanda and other people with Arsenal where he's been on them as well, and he had like a foot in both camps, and you wouldn't know, would you? You wouldn't.
I honestly believe, right? I honestly believe with Kev is that if there was a game where Everton needed to win the game and they were playing Arsenal, he'd support Everton.
Yeah,
and vice versa. Vice versa. If he wouldn't support Arsenal for the sake of supporting Arsenal if they were playing Everton. If Everton needed that win, he'd be supporting Everton. It was so close, and I think that proves how much he took us to his heart. That's how he felt, because again, Mitt said this at the weekend. You want footballers to love your club, and they don't. They often don't, and it's
a job to most.
Sometimes we're critical of them because that, but I genuinely believe he did, because he spent some very important years with us. Coming in, saving the club, us taking him out of his bad situation in Turkey as well, us buying him as well was a big first step. Him keeping us up, and then the Moyes era, that transition from being a struggling team to a side pushing for Europe, and I think he had his best year scoring goals under Moyes. I think one season, Moyes seemed to get the best out of him for certainly a season or so, and he seen that it was like a transition for him, and then when he left the club, it was like. It was the time was right to leave the club, and he went somewhere and he helped West Brom stay up as well. So, you can only say good things about him. There's just like nothing negative you can find about the fella. And I think the last time I saw him physically was outside the Bournemouth game on Goodison Road, and he was getting mobbed walking down Goodison Road. I think he was trying to get into the reception or the media suite, and he didn't, though, because I seen him and I shouted him and I went over and spoke to him, and everyone's wanting a pitch, and he did. And I think he ended up just like going towards the Winslow instead of going to where he was supposed to go, and making sure everyone got a pitch in, and he said hello to us, everyone who wanted to say hello to him, and that's a lovely way to remember him for me. That's something I'll cherish, remembering him like that. Yeah, that to me sums up the kind of fella he was.
No, he was. I think once you met him, once you spent time in his company, you wouldn't forget him. And like I said, we've done loads, and been fortunate enough to do loads over the years. But he is, he's one who we did call a mate, didn't we? Really in the end, and started off interviewing him and ended up calling him a mate. And I've still got the message. He was coming in to do the Inside the Game podcast in January, and obviously he got ill and never got the chance to have that sit down with him, which I would have loved to have done across the desk, because you've seen stuff sharing, the story about Wayne Rooney, which was hilarious over the weekend, and like you said before, everybody seems to have nothing but good words to say about him, and that's rare. That is rare in football, because it is very much, even though it's a team game, it is also very much an individual game as well, isn't it? We saw Wayne Rooney tweeting about him, who obviously he started right at the start of his career, and you see Arsenal players, Ian Wright was obviously very emotional about him. And yeah, it's so difficult to comprehend sometimes, isn't it? It's got to cherish every day, which is, again, you said before, and it does make you, it makes you look at everything when something like this happens, because it seemed to come from nowhere. He's a fit mountain of a man, wasn't he? And come in the studio, and we've got a little few clips of him, of the stuff we done with him, that's going to play for you now, so have a look at this. Here at Goodison Park, talking to this man, Super Kevin Campbell, the smartest ex-Everton player ever of all time. No Dickie Bow. I'm a little bit...
No, it's a Friday.
It's a Friday.
Funky Fridays on a Friday.
Should have got you
Dickie Bow Thursday.
That's the one. That is the one. Kev, lovely to have you back. Lovely to have you back on Toffee TV. Making you sound a little bit older, Kev. In your day, it would have been more difficult, you know.
It would never happen, Baz. It was never happening. I had to do my own. I had to write my own program. I had to do my own fitness, etc. But now, you know, you could have a fitness trainer who lives in America, and he could train you over here. So it's great that the technology's moved on.
Super Kevin Campbell. We've got the man. And this time he's not lying down. He's
chilling.
In an upright position.
He's a presenter now, so he's sitting up.
There was never any laying down. I don't know why you're saying that, but you know what? I'm chilled, so if you want me to lay down, I can.
You were just vertical last time. It was. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have no problem with that. But
a word. What you on about?
I'm joined in the studio by Everton's 4th highest Premier League goal scorer. The man who did this, and we haven't done it since. Super Kevin Campbell.
How are you?
Kev, I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good, really good.
I mean, look,
Dickie Bow Thursday, you know it.
You know what, mate? The smartest man we've ever had in the studio by a country mile. By a country mile. It's lovely to see you.
Good to see you.
Say, guys, that interview with Don Hutchinson was brilliant. Absolute quality. I love that guy, and you know how sick I was when he left the club. God, half of my goal scoring opportunities diminished when he left.
He loves you.
No, thanks for having me on.
He loves you.
Listen, I love him too. Listen, thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Always check out Toffee TV. These guys are top class. Always.
Top man. And I'm going to say the last man to score the winner for us at Anfield. Very quickly, did you think it'd be... When you scored that night, did you think you'd still
all
have
these
this
years?
In 2018?
Well, I keep saying every year, I want it gone.
Yeah.
I want somebody else to take that mantle. I want to be just another player who scored a winner at Anfield, because it means that we're doing well. Fingers crossed this season we could get the job done, because, you know, that lot over there are, you know, they're full of themselves at the moment. They're full of themselves.
And your mate Red Nose John.
Oh, Red Nose John. He thinks they're gonna. He still thinks they're gonna get Ramos with the petition. I think they're gonna do Ramos with the petition, and they're gonna win everything this season.
There you go, Red Nose John. This is from the man, the last blue to score the winner at Anfield.
Andy couldn't make it today.
No.
So we were like, who should we get? That we can replace Andy with? So we got Super Kevin Campbell.
Yeah, I mean,
all the way from London, you got me today.
As you do.
So we got Super Kevin. Andy will love that, won't he? He will absolutely.
Well, Kev was just saying how much he likes XG and
XG. What are your thoughts on XG, Kev?
Don't talk to me about stats. Forget stats. Forget it. XG. Keep it. Put it in the bin. Great to be on. Finally, I'm making it into the studio.
Great to have Kev on. I mean, we might have the Piv back next week, Andy.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Depends what Kev's doing.
Yeah.
Get me back in.
We'll get you back in soon.
There you go. Just a few clips of some of the stuff we've done with them over the years, and it's just such a lovely fella, and there's more. We'll collate bits and pieces, because we've got obviously the one I talked about before, the commemorative shirt one. We've done an interview, you done one about number 9s.
Yeah.
The importance of number 9.
Yeah.
At Everton Football Club, and seeing his, I just tried to put ones in there where he's laughing and smiling, because that's my overriding view of him. Is that a lovely smile.
Yeah.
And he did light up a room, and you know, obviously our thoughts and prayers are with his family, and obviously Therese put something out the other day that he appreciates, and then obviously Father's Day the next day is thing. But just when you look back at those moments, the boom and laughs and all of that, is that he was that kind of character, or positive even when Everton was struggling still. We'll get it right.
I said at the weekend when he came in here that time, I think he had Ronnie's due the next day. I think he came down into Liverpool, or it might have been that day. I can't. No, it was a Thursday. He was doing Ronnie on the Friday.
He had the Dickie Bow on,
and
Thursday.
I went and picked him up from Lime Street.
Yeah.
And my first thing was, why didn't you get off at Hunt's Cross?
You said that on that podcast.
Hello. So I picked them up, and you're like, okay, you know when you're in the company of someone and you know them, but you don't know, can you make small chat with them?
Yeah.
And Everton drew 2-2 with Newcastle on the Tuesday. They did the 2-2.
Oh.
And I was just like fuming at him, and not at him obviously, but I was like fuming. And he was like, yeah, we fine. Ancelotti sorted, no issues. I was like saying about Pickford, and he was like, you'll be fine. You'll turn out. He's a good goalie. Everything will be all right. And you're just sitting there going, can't argue back. There's nothing I can say that can trump what he's saying to me. Everton went on the Saturday to Watford and pulled it back from 2-0 down. But just those little interactions where you're getting a feel for somebody, and that positivity wasn't like, and everyone will say it wasn't fake. And so someone reminded, one of the tweets reminded the day where I'd be going to bed some days and he'd be getting up and putting whatever he put. Have a great Tuesday or whatever. And I'm like,
Dicky boat.
And I'm like, I'm going to bed. And I'm like, sometimes like,
I mean, that says more about you than him.
No, it doesn't.
It does. It's a bed early.
And I'd be looking at going, should I tweet him and say, are you going up? And then I was like, no, because I'm outing myself as a very, very night owl, very late night owl. So I thought, no, I'll leave that. But it is one of those things where you got to look at, you go, yeah, I'm awful, aren't I? I'm a terrible person.
Awful.
I'm going to bed now, and he's getting up, and his day's beginning. The best part of a day is just beginning, all that kind of thing.
When he was asleep.
And it's just all that kind of thing. But no, that's it. If everyone said his positivity was the thing that, and you can imagine that when he came in, you can imagine him and I'm sure when we're able to speak to those around him, I'm sure that'll be the thing. Because when he came in, I mean, people forget that he did play. He played in those first 2 games and he didn't score. He played, I think his first game in Bayside Derby, wasn't it?
The 3-2.
Yeah. And then he played in the Sheffield Wednesday game. I think a lot of people don't think he played in that game and think that he came in afterwards and saved us, but he didn't. He played in both of those games. And I can imagine that positivity, that outlook was a big part of him dragging that team on and going, no, because we as fans would have all thought that's the end.
Coventry's first goals, wasn't it?
Yeah. You got 2-2. He scored 2. Didn't score against Chelsea and then got the hat-trick.
That hat-trick was that game against, I mean, we get beat 2-1 at Chelsea.
3-1, I think it was.
Or was it 3-1? I went to Chelsea. We were poor, but the week later against West Ham, we were unbelievable. Him and Hutch, who,
and it was like, what was great about the West Ham
what
was great about the West Ham was he was wearing this kit. So we debuted at end of the season, like we used to. And it was like a completely new team. That we were safe.
Yeah.
West Ham have got Ferdinand and all these players, and they're supposed to be the good team, and we battered them, and he scores a boss hat-trick, and you're looking and you've got Franny Jeffers playing like reverse balls round the back. You've got Don, and you looked at the team and went, oh my God, this is a really good team. And it looked different because it was wearing that kit instead of that kit, and it was like, oh, this is like a new team. It was like, we went to Southampton the week after and got beat, but that doesn't matter.
It was the last day.
No, it was the last day. They need to win to stay up, and we had the
flip-flop.
Yeah, we were on the flip-flop. So, but it was that thing of like, well, we actually might be a decent team now. Yeah. But you can imagine that positivity driving people on and being the thing that picked people up. Not just the goals, but the goals have to come from somewhere. It's that idea of
the focal point, wasn't he?
We'll be all right.
Point. And he was brilliant.
And I think the other thing we have to say as well is, and I think this is a really important thing. And we did a video with Kev. It's on More Than a Game channel now. It was the Footy Show then. We did a video about racism in football. People got to remember, Kevin Campbell is really Everton's first. I know you got Daniel Amakachi, but he's our first sort of true Everton black hero, legend, and he become Everton's first black captain as well. And people got to remember, that's for a club. I mean, we know, because we were there in the 90s. You know, we and the 80s. We heard some of that stuff. We seen some of that stuff in the 90s as well. You know, I remember a chant when Les Ferdinand scored a hat-trick at Everton, and it was, it was disgusting. So to go from one end of the 90s and hearing that stuff and going into the other end of the 90s, having this guy as your hero and being eventually the captain, and he's Everton's number 9, that's a huge transition for our football club, because I know it still exists and it hasn't gone away, and I appreciate that. But then it wasn't like a dirty little secret. It was quite open. It's quite open, some of the things that were being said and things that would get said on the terrace and that kind of thing. Kev coming in and being the number 9 for Everton and being an absolute hero and saving us and then becoming the captain, they're really big milestones for our football club.
Big moments.
Big moments. So, you know, that should, and I'm sure he took a lot of pride in that as well, because I think Kevin Campbell's actually said that he was racially abused at Goodison Park playing for Arsenal. So that's a huge transition as well.
We have had conversations with Ian Wright, haven't we? He actually loves Everton, doesn't he? But he said at first it was bad. And Palace, when he came with Palace, Merseyside was bad for that.
Yeah.
You know, John Barnes, everyone writes history. John Barnes was racially abused at Anfield and Goodison. And then he signed for Liverpool and obviously became the player he did. Fantastic football. He was a fantastic footballer. And became a Liverpool hero.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. That's how it is, and it's not good. And that what we then saw years later with Moise Keane, the support for the racism he received in Italy from Evertonians. Kevin Campbell started that ball roll. Of course, we'd had Cliff Marshall. Of course, we'd have Daniel Amakati, and people loved Daniel. I loved Amakati.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely loved them. But for Kevin Campbell to then transcend that, become Everton's first black captain, become a person who everybody loved, and to flip that, and it's a society thing as well, and this is not against Evertonians or whatever on Merseyside. That's what it was. You have to change cultures, and you have to cross that sort of break those barriers down, and thank God we have. Do you know what I mean? I don't care if Everton have got aliens who play for them, and score. We love our footballing heroes, and Kevin Campbell was a footballing hero and did do that. And Alan Myers put a picture up, didn't he, of the captain's armband that he wrote him a message on. Kevin, when Alan left Everton, lovely, heartfelt message. And I know, speaking to Alan last week, Alan was incredibly close to Kevin. Alan's, obviously devastated by this news as well, and it's awful. It really is awful news, but talking about him today, trying to remember him, because my overriding image of him is the smile. What a lovely smile, positive, happy fella, and no wonder there is so much outpouring of love for him. Because he deserved it.
No, absolutely.
Ultimately, he deserved that.
Absolutely. And going back to what we were saying before about the situation with him and the way he was with the likes of us, is that footballers are guarded. They are very, very guarded. Specifically it's so interesting to me, and I think Baz as well, when sometimes you look at older players and they fall into that sort of trap of they'll talk to the radio stations in the city, even though, one of them has got nothing to do with what it was when it was in its heyday. I mean, it's not even called the same thing anymore, is it? In Radio City. They'll talk to, the regional TV stations and all this kind of thing. And they often overlook, things... even if they've got books out or whatever, they often overlook what we do and what other people are doing out there because they don't understand it. And there's still that little bit of sort of snobbery with the older players. They're still very guarded. They don't know who you are because they're used to this old school way of doing things. And that can be very frustrating for us as you try and get get those people. But Kev threw himself head first, didn't he? I mean, there's no Everton podcast out there that I don't think Kev didn't go on. You know, he's been on every podcast and he's been on every YouTube channel. I think anyone who asked him, he did it. You know, and I think that's brilliant. That's another side of him, is that if someone said, "Do you want to come on?" he came on. That's massive. That's a huge way of putting yourself out there and communicating with all different elements of the fan base. You know, that's really important. You know, we know that he did a weekly Arsenal podcast. I mean, we'd have loved to have got him on, you know, every week, but he was like, no, I'm going to do an Arsenal one, and that's fine. He did it with Toffee, who I know she's devastated as well in California and being so far away. And we've been on that channel a couple of times with Alan Myers as well. And we've had some good laughs just talking about when Everton have played I think, when was the last one? Was it the home game last season?
Last season, I think.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season. Mm. And we had Alan on and we were on with guests and he just threw himself into that kind of thing. And as I said, you'll find out there that every channel will have done something with Kev because he was willing. And I think do you know what? That's massive, that as well, because as I said, there is an element of, you try and get hold of these people, and of course you can message them now, and most of them will be on some form, and some of them won't even get back to you, and some of them might be a little bit funny about it, or some of them do the after dinner circuit and don't want to reveal any of their story and all that nonsense, which I do find nonsense, to be honest, because I just think, no, you know, someone will pay to come and see you no matter what. But Kev will go on everything, and I think for me, he's a massive, like, you know, when we talk about the power of social media, and like, we're like yin and yang on that. I think social media I love social media, Baz hates it. I think it's such an important tool that can be used in such a right way, and I think Kevin Campbell had it spot on when it comes to social media, because he would go on everything. He tweeted, you know, he'd do messages. He'd done a message for your 50th, don't forget.
Lovely fella.
You know, he'd done messages for everybody. And you could see the power of, like, the modern era with him as well, where some players can just fade out. He didn't. He stayed very relevant because of social media. You know, putting himself out there, even to the point that I think when he came on social media, a lot of people were like, "Is this the real Kevin Campbell?" Because he's a little bit too.
I asked them
accommodating
in the commemorative video for the shirt. Yeah. I said, "Is it you?" Because people are doubtful, and this is back in 2017.
Yeah.
He was like, "It is absolutely, it's me," because he was given Liverpool stick, wasn't he? He was having bants with fans. He was having all sorts. So I asked him, and he was like, "Absolutely, it's me." Yeah. And it's Kevin Campbell. And he was like, he just bounced it off and was like, yeah, because some fella's been posing as me. Yeah. So I'm telling you that it's me.
But that's it, yeah. He understood the power of social media, and he understood about getting himself out there without the need for having people around him and people doing it for him. And before you know it, you've got a guy who is loved, and is you're getting his words, not someone else's words, or not or not going on to national radio stations and getting you got actually his words and talk, as I said, doing all the different podcasts. I think that's a lesson toward the football players, is that if you are authentic and it's your words and people can hear you, and you're getting questions from other fans of that football club, that's so powerful as well, to be your authentic self. And I think he absolutely had that.
He did. Some of the comments. James says, "So sad, R.I.P. Super Kev, our saviour. Used to love watching him at Goodison scoring goals." Legend, says Tommy. Forest legend too, says Tommy K. Isha says, "R.I.P. Kevin Campbell. I remember the season he virtually saved us from relegation by himself." Andrew, Adrian Taylor, so sad, young age. FC Crud, R.I.P. Super Kev. Tom Wilson says first name and number on the back of my 98 1-to-1 home shirt. Kevin Murphy says R.I.P. Super Kev, met him a couple of times, absolute gentleman. Eddie says 54, such a young age, R.I.P. sir. Tom says scored in a scramble, Super Kev, once a blue, always a blue. Brian says very sad, taken far too soon. Ped did a great video the weekend. Key B says Super Kev went against the phrase never meet your heroes. Awesome player, but an even better human being. Eugene's best memories of Kevin Campbell when he scored the winner in the Merseyside derby. My JN says absolutely gutted to lose Super Kev. First and foremost, genuinely and nice bloke. I remember his heroics and glad he knew how loved he was. R.I.P. Kev, love to all your family. I am Damo, gutted about Super Kev, was such a lovely character, it was amazing for Everton. Feel for his family, it's a great loss to the football community. Our Premier member Steve Kelly, alright lads, R.I.P. Kev, hero for me when growing up. He saved us when we were heading down. Most important thing we have lost is a genuinely nice bloke, and that's what Blues will remember the most. Peter Hall says Newcastle away, Gaza playing his first ever club game for an away team at Newcastle. Steve Watson playing also, great reception for both of them. I'm in the home end. I have a bet on Everton to win 1-0 and Campbell the first goal scorer. Needless to say, Kevin scored. Gaza's passed to Naismith. The little turn by Gaza in that, the little like back heel to set us on our break. Naismith, he runs from his own half, cuts it back, Campbell jumps up. All eyes are on me. I'm standing there on my own. 80 minutes, do I care? 80 minutes to go, do I care? No. I look up and 3,000 blue noses are bouncing in the St James's Park. For that memory alone, thank you, Kevin. Jill says R.I.P. Super Kevin Campbell, one of the most genuine, gentlemanly fellas there was. The role he played in our survival in his first season with us, and the honour he paid to the number 9 shirt by continuing to perpetuate the legacy of first-class strikers. Us Blues are so proud every time he put on that shirt. He stayed such a huge character, even after moving on, becoming part of the fabric of the club. Gone but not forgotten. Adam 1878 have had a signed Kevin Campbell match-worn shirt at home for 15 plus years. The one over Ped's left shoulder with his name and number on the back. Always appreciated it, but we'll cherish it that little bit more now. Started going the match at 5 to 6 years old in 99, so Kev was always one of my first favourite players. Jay said, I'm in bits watching these clips. What a guy. Frank says, I remember being in Iron Napa in 1999 when I had to find a bar to watch the Charlton game, and his performance that day was unbelievable. Such a pleasure. Met him a couple of times in the fan zone, and he'd always talk to anyone. And me, R.I.P., you amazing man. And that's it. A lot of supporters are saying the same thing about him, because that's what it was.
Yeah.
Maxter says, R.I.P. Super Kev, if only we'd have taken him off Arsenal in 1995.
I think the other side of it is just saying there is he might be. You get a lot of players, ex-players of a certain age who walk down Goodison Road. You know, you'll have seen the likes of Howard Kendall walking down Goodison Road. You've seen the likes of Colin Harvey still walking down Goodison Road. John Bailey walking down Goodison Road. And they might be of an age where your dad or your granddad needs to tell you who they are. Whereas Kevin Campbell walked down Goodison Road, and you knew who he was, because he was you're of an age where he was your hero, or you know, or you saw him play, or you're just a little bit younger, but you've grown up in the YouTube age, so you've seen videos of him and or you've seen the clips of Wayne Rooney, and Wayne Rooney jumps on his back when he scores the first goal. So he's a player of the modern age, and he was still walking down Goodison Road. And I think again that's a huge difference. We talk about footballers, and again I understand footballers want their privacy and a little bit don't quite understand where they what would happen if they walk down Goodison Road or whatever. Or some of them are of such a monetary value that they feel a little bit insecure about being out in public. But that's the difference with Kev, is that he'd walk down Goodison Road and go in the Winslow and buy people a pint in the Winslow. You know, wasn't he in the Winslow after the
Bournemouth game?
Well, no, when he was playing.
Oh, when he played.
Yeah, I think it might have been after the West Ham game. He might have been in there. I'm sure there's a story where he bought the whole pub a pint or something.
Surprise.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise. And I think that's another massive trait of, like, what people say it all the time. You've got to humanise footballers. Well, certainly everyone felt like they knew Kevin Campbell, and if he walked down Goodison Road, that's an amazing way to humanise yourself, to be like, I'm just a normal fella. I'm one of you, you know. And if you want a picture, if you want to whatever, a photo of me, then not a problem at all.
Ian says, R.I.P. Big Kevin Campbell, never forgotten from a Darlington fan. Kunal says, I met him 5 years ago after an Arsenal game in a pub just around Finsbury Park. Asked him if I could have a photo taken, and he joked, what's the magic word? I said Arsenal, he said no. I said Everton, he said no. I said please, he said correct. Typical Kevin Campbell humour. We briefly chatted about Everton and Marco Silva when he was going through a bad run. Said Marco needed time. He was also hugely indebted to Walter Smith and spoke greatly about him. Sam says he seemed like the most warm and charismatic guy. Never a truer word, says Damo, than cherish every day. Steve Lee loves Dickie both Thursday. Kiwi said he had a smile that made the world a better place on its own. Yeah. Emma says, larger than life legend. Sure, my dad will have some boots ready for him for the kicker both. Yeah. Stephen Lee says, got tears down my eyes. What a pure legend. A little bit bullish says, Kev helped my emotions mindset massively when I thought Everton were done. Lucky to call my Everton hero and mate. Celtic Vape says, we've lost one of the best, the joy bringer. Goodbye, Super Kev. Thanks for the memories. Gone way too soon. Condolences to his family. John G says, been really upset about this. What a lovely fella. One of my favourite Everton players. Abby says, Kevin loved football and life. My ex-husband knew him personally due to working with Arsenal disabled supporters and on a podcast. Will be a miss. Absolutely, you will. Craig says, I'll watch later in the week. I think I'm not emotionally ready to watch yet. Yeah, listen, I mean, the overriding...
Sophie's in the comments there.
Is she? Let me find. Where are you, Soph? If you see her, read it out, because I can't see it.
Highbury squad, two of Super Kevin's favourite Toffees. He loved you guys. Had massive respect for you. Your love for a chat. He always enjoyed talking about the beautiful game with you. Thank you, Sophie. Sophie's putting something together as well for this week over on her channel, Highbury Squad, as well. So we'll I'm sure we'll participate in that and get some. There'll be some lovely stuff on that, I'm sure, because they were brilliant. That was a brilliant channel. Well, it is a brilliant channel. They used to do some brilliant stuff over there with Kevin. Alan would get involved as well. Alan get involved when it was non-Everton stuff, because it was just talking about talking with Kev. So make sure to check out that and yeah. Oh. Dude, I've told you the story as well, haven't I? That shirt there. That Kevin Campbell, I've told him this before. I haven't mentioned this so far. I actually spoke about Kevin Campbell at my wedding, because Kevin Campbell I put actually down to meeting my missus, and I told him this, and he sort of just laughed. But I actually spoke about it at my wedding. Is that we played Ipswich and we drew 0-0, and we wore that kit, and he missed about 3 sitters. And I actually told him this, and you never know how these stories are going to go down. I've told stories to ex-players, and they've just looked at me and growled. As Baz,
didn't he play Duncan on the left wing, Walter Smith?
So Kev missed about 3 one-on-ones that day, and I said to him, that led me to being very upset that night, and I went out on the ale, and by going out on the ale because I was upset, I bumped into my future wife. you know, we talked about our love for Everton, and I think we both spoke about that night about the frustration of not winning that game, and maybe why we didn't win that game. And I did tell him that story, and he did laugh. He did laugh like if it'd been Dunk, he would have growled at me. Yeah, he would have said it's not my fault, or Wayne Rooney would have said, "What you mean? Don't play me in the away games."
Wayne Rooney nearly killed you, or looked at you like he wanted to.
Yeah. But he had a laugh about it. But that shirt always brings back those memories to me, because it was September the 13th, 2001. So that game, I know the game off by heart, 0-0. There was one, I think he went to go round the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper grabbed it from him, and I just been fuming and went out. So yeah, so
the emotional side of football.
Well, you know. There's always a connection, isn't it? There's always a connection. So yeah, I said as well. It wasn't. It was sort of serendipitous as well that he came to the club, and you know, of all the numbers being available at the football club, you know, he could have been any number, couldn't he? You know, footballers come in now and
get any number.
You get any number, can't you? I know they want certain numbers, but if they come in January now, then it was later on in the season, because you could. But the fact that there was a number 9 waiting for, like literally saying SOS, we need a bloody hero. Everton's biggest, like most important shirt in our history was like, there you go, mate. So a loan signing, you know, that's again, that there's something serendipitous about that as well, being given to him, and obviously never relinquished that shirt. And
He took them on London, didn't he?
Yeah, and even like when Dunk came in, you know, Dunk had to have 24 and then number 10, because Kevin Campbell wasn't giving that up, and then Dunk got it for his last season because Kev had moved on. So there was something obviously straight away was like, no, here's the shirt, you are going to be the hero. And again, that's just those little things.
You've done a bosh little chat with him about that, which we will put back up. About the importance of that number 9 shirt as well, and you're right, it's a loan signing to take it, and that was this is without being disrespectful to Rooney Coney. Yeah, this was the days when 9 was like 9 still.
Well, the fact that it'd been left was you know,
and he took it, and he was, you know, was just so important in wearing that number 9, and as big an impact as so many people who've gone before, you know, just legends rather, who'd worn it before, that he done tremendous with that number, and like you say, kept it. Juan says R.I.P. Super Kev. Max, we have done that one. Martin says first name on my back as a kid, R.I.P. Super Kevin Campbell. And Degsy says Super Kev, a real Everton number 9. Football community has lost a number 1 gentleman. And
well, I'd say what's funny about that as well. Obviously, we're saying about that shirt there, but that shirt there. So when we were getting married, my missus used to work in the sports bar in town, saving up some extra money, and they all had to wear footy kits, and she used to wear that one. So she used to wear the number 9, the Kevin Campbell number 9 shirt to work to pay to get some extra money to pay for our wedding. So it all comes full circle. Comes full circle
all round. Lollipop says Arsenal fan League Gunner told the story of how Kevin stayed and talked for 40 minutes to fans. But he did. That was just him. That was obviously just the way he was, and that's what he was like. And Flint says, they say you may not remember everything someone said, but you always remember how they made you feel. Well, Kevin Campbell made so many people happy. Genuinely soft fella. Absolutely, he was so. Yeah, I don't know what else really.
No.
You know, I've got to take a minute there because obviously it just
What we'll do is this is our fault, and I often think there are things that I often think about, like we haven't got a video of like Kev talking about his entire career. We've done them with you know what? That's familiarity that breeds. You know, that's that thing of like I've done it before. You know, when I remember I used to see Dave Vixen. I mean, you knew Dave Vixen, but you used to see Dave Vixen all the time. on Goodison Road, and not what. And
Come to my wedding.
there's that thing.
And I
No, but
just
it's that
went.
thing of seeing him and going, oh, I see him all the time. What do I want a picture
No,
with him?
I wouldn't.
See Howard Kendall all the time.
Howard Kendall was
Yeah,
was
And
another one.
I'm lucky because I
Yeah.
did stuff with Howard Kendall
Yeah.
before we started Toffee TV. So I was when he'd done his book with James and stuff like that. So I was quite lucky. But again, and it is that thing of like, if you see someone, it doesn't matter who they are and you love them, make sure you get a picture with them. Make sure you go and have a chat with them. And we didn't do a video with Kev because it was almost like, we want to do stuff that's like relevant at the time. But what we're going to do is we're going to go back to all our videos we did with them and get all his stories and cut them together and make one video
About his
Everton career, because as Baz was saying before, he wanted to do the More Than the Game about his entire career, and we just never got that chance, sadly. But it is that thing of like, if you do see these people, go and have a chat with them. You know, they are human beings, and hopefully they'll have a chat back with you. Because I think that's the other side of it, isn't it? That's the important side of it, is that they, footballers should have a chat back with you, as long as you're respectful, and hopefully you can just go and have a chat with them, and that's the other side of it. So if there is someone out there and you see them and you're like, come and get a picture with them, only takes a second, and you know what? In that moment you might go, I've got that picture, but it might be years later you might go, oh yeah, I did get a picture with that person, and I will cherish that memory, because you never know, do you? You never know the day. You absolutely never know the day. So
the young Millwall goalie the other day, I mean, like 26 years of age, absolutely. Doesn't bear thinking about, does it?
No.
Without getting too deep, enjoy all the people you love, enjoy everything, because you really, things can change in a heartbeat, can't they? And that's it. Listen, we'll be back just after 1. Just have a quick break. We'll talk about Everton stuff then. We didn't feel.
Still take your memories and everything if you're watching.
Absolutely.
But
we wanted this just to be about Kevin. There's obviously big Everton news as well, isn't it, over the weekend? So we'll talk about that on a separate thing. But we didn't feel it was appropriate to flip between the two things on this one. So last couple. Barry says it stands out for me because in '99 I was on my honeymoon in Florida. Decided to go Monster Derby and the cricketers on International Drive. The rest is history. Mark says he was one of us. Paul Davis says he was the only famous person ever to reply to me when I've spoken to them on Twitter. Chris says he wasn't just a great footballer who saved us, but the fella was an absolute gem. The world has lost a great man. Always in our hearts. Emma says, well done, lads. Can't have been easy considering personal connections with Kev. Right, we will see you all.
Just, is the link up, Ned?
Switch link.
The link, yeah. I mean,
Ned will just give you. We'll be back in 5 or 6 minutes.
Ned's gonna
put
the link up
magically link you up. So just stay where you're at.
I mean, is it there, Ned? Okay, the link is there. So just follow that. We'll be back in about 5 minutes or so.
See you in a bit.